Hello friends, welcome to Nigra Techies. Today I'm going to explain how to implement multiforms in Angular application. First, let me explain the usage of having these multiforms. So in the real-time application, consider on registration screen, it could be an employee registration or some other pages. The first two pages have the basic informations and the second pages have some contact information. And the similar way we have this multiple forms. So all the forms are we have to complete one by one. At the end we have this submit button. Okay. So in this case we can go with an multi-forms in Angular application. And also we all know the reactive form is the wonderful option for handling this complex kind of codes. So that's what I'm going to use this same reactive form only. So here I listed out all the steps. We can go one by one. The first thing is I'm going to create a new component for implementing our multiforms. And the second thing is I'm going to initiate our reactive forms. And the third one is the design. For the design purpose, I'm going to use this material UI. And the fourth one is implementing this form against the UI and also completing our validations. The finally, we are going to get the form value on the event of first submit. Okay. So this is about my plan. Now let me go to the application. We can create our component first. Component name is multiforms. Okay, great. Our component is created. So in this TS file, I'm going to initiate our reactive forms. So before that, we have to import some models in our app.model file. So if you are using this reactive forms, you should import this reactive form model. And the next, I'm going to inject this form builder. Okay, if it is not coming, we have to import it manually. So this form builder is belongs to Angular forms. Okay, this is fine. Now let me initiate my form. Employee register. So this is our main form. So inside I'm going to have three more forms. The first one is for the basic detail. So let me give the name is basic. And the similar way I'm going to add the second form. So this one is for the contact information. And the third one I'm going to use the address. Okay. So our form is ready. Now I'm going to include the fields. So in the first form have two fields. The first one is first name. So here I'm going to provide the default value is empty, and I'm going to include the validation also. Basically, if you are typing, it will come. If it is not coming, you have to import it manually. So this field is required. The similar way I'm going to add the second field. So the second field is last name. Now let me move on our second form, the contact. So in this contact, I'm going to have totally three fields. So the first one is email, and the second one is phone, and the third one is fax. Okay, and the final one is address. So in this address, I'm going to have the first field is street. So the example purpose, I'm going to include the limited fields. So in this real-time application, you have to add based on your requirement. Okay, great. We have initiated our form. The next thing is we need to focus on this UI part. So as I mentioned, I'm going to use this material UI. So I'm going to install it. This is the official site of Angular Material UI. So already I have explained in some other videos. So anyway, let me take this command. Okay, great. Our installation gets completed. Now I'm going to rerun our application. So meanwhile, we can go for this component side. So in this component side, we are going to use this stepper component. Yeah, this one. Okay. So we can take this first example. So when I am clicking this next, it's moving to the next tab. Okay. Finally, it's coming to the done side. Let me reset this. Now I'm going to enable this linear mode. So currently I'm not entered anything in this name. So if I'm clicking, it's never moving on the next level. Okay. So currently I'm going to put some values. Okay, now it's moving to our address side. Here if I'm entering some values only, it's moving our final form. The same control only we are also going to use. So let me take the code snippet. So except this button, we have to copy all the things. Let me include it in our HTML side. And the very important thing is we are using this stepper component. So we have to import the required model. So Angular slash material then stepper. Okay. So mat stepper model. Okay, we have added. Let me include in this import side. The similar way I'm going to include two more models. So the one is input and another one is the button, because these are the mandatory thing while we are handling with on forms. So let me save it. Okay, still we are getting some error. Let me verify it. So here this reset is not required. So let me remove it. And this second form group. Okay, I think they are included some forms, but it's not required. So we are going to use our forms only. So let me include it. So inside this match stopper, I'm going to use one forms. So in the form, I'm going to use this form group. Okay, this is fine. And the second thing is these forms are not required. So instead of that, we can use this div because we are already using one form. And here we have to provide this form group name because this is our main form. Inside that we have the different forms. So our first form name is basic. Okay. So the similar way I'm going to include for two more forms. The second one is contact and the final one is address. So initially I'm going to remove this step control. Basically these all are coming under this validation part. Let me explain little later. Okay, this is linear. The is linear also the part of this validation for enabling and disabling this validation only. So initially I'm going to provide this value as false. So later we have to change this into true. Okay, currently we don't have any error. So we can see the output now. Okay, let me include this into the our routing side also. Then only we are able to see the output. So after this empty route, I'm going to include this one. So the path name is multiform and our component name is multiforms component. Okay, and also I'm going to include in our app component menu section. Okay, so currently nothing is loaded. Let me verify. Okay, in this basically we don't have any first control, something like that. So our first control should be first name. So the placeholder should be first name only. The similar way I am going to add the second field also. So the second field is last name, and this required also it's not required because we are handling from our reactive forms. Okay, this second control. So for the second control actually it's a email only. Okay, now the design is coming, and here we have the two fields. The one is for the first name and the second one is the second name. So let me check the placeholder also, and this label first name and last name. Okay, and the design point of view also we have some issue. For solving this one I am going to include one small CSS changes. Okay, now the design is somewhat fine. And then in this button, next button, so let me take this one, the striped control. Yeah, this matte raised button. Yeah, that is fine. And this color we can use this primary. Okay, this is somewhat fine. So if I'm clicking this next, it's moving on our next tab. So here actually we have three fields. So the first one is email we have included. So the similar way I am going to include our next two fields also. One is phone and the next one is fax. And here also I'm going to change these buttons. So we can use this raised button, that is the look and feel is really great. So see, our second form also fine, and it's required some space. Okay, it's fine. Okay, our second form also ready, and the final one is bending, and we can change these titles also. Fill basic details, and this one fill out contact info. So let me copy this whole section. We can recreate our final one. Fill out the address, and here the form group name is address only, and our first field is street, and the second field is city, and the final one is pin code. Okay, this is fine. And the button point of view, here we can have this back button, that is fine. And also we should have the submit button. So instead of this primary, we can use this success kind of things. So let me check. Okay, we can use this ascent for showing some difference. Okay, so let me see the output now. Okay, this is somewhat fine, right? And the next thing is we have to include the validation. So these two are the mandatory field. So as of now, I'm not entered any value. So if I'm clicking this next, it should not go. And also I'm able to go directly. So this is not the fair option. That's what we are going to include this validation. So for including the validation, the first step is we have to make this linear as the true. And the second thing is we have to include the step controls for every match step. So basically it is expecting our form group. So we cannot give the form group name. So instead of that, we have to provide the exact form. So we have to use one getter method. So using that, we can get our individual forms. Basic info form. So get method should return the first form. So this dot employee register dot get, and then our form name is basic. Okay, and we have to convert this into form group. Okay, if it is not coming, we have to import it. So this one also belongs to this employee. So this one also belongs to our Angular forms. The similar way, I'm going to create two more getter function. The second one is contact form, and this third one is address form. Okay, we have to provide the names also. Contact, address. So now we can map these basic forms here. And the second one is contact form. contact form. We can verify now. So I'm going to click this next once again. So see, still I'm the first page only. If I'm trying to click this second tab, so it's completely in disabled mode. So I am going to provide some value, John, and then Robert. So now I'm going to click this next. So see, now our second page is enabled now. So we can provide one email, test@gmail.com, and some mobile number, and this fax, some value I'm providing. So when I'm clicking this next, so our back and submit buttons are coming. So if I'm clicking this back, it is working. It will come to the back side. So if required, we have to do some changes. And also in the first page also directly we can move. So see, now this edit symbol is loaded and the data was there. So finally I'm going to provide some values here. So our complete validation related things are fine. So we have entered all the values. Finally we can submit this value, right? So the next thing is we have to get these form values. Okay, so let me include one submit event here. So in our main form I'm going to use this ng submit, and we can include one function. So let me save it. I hope it will throw the error. Yes. First I'm going to check one condition. If the data are valid, I'm going to put our form value into the console. So initially in the console we don't have any value. If I'm clicking this next also, we are not getting anything. Now I'm providing some values here. So now we are in the final page. So now I'm going to submit this one. Okay, still we are not getting. Let me verify it. So let me do some small changes. I'm going to move all this matched upper inside this form. So we can verify once again. So see, now we are getting these values right now. So let me just expand it. Okay. So this is our main object. So inside that we have three more objects. The first one is address. So in this address we are getting this city. So we are getting this city and this pin code and this street value. Whatever information actually we are provided, the same data we are getting. And in this basic object we are getting this first name and last name. So in this contact page we are getting this email, fax and phone number. So in case if I am not providing any value, I mean I just removed one value. If I'm trying to sum it, it won't work. So it's not returning any data. So now I'm going to provide some value. So see, now we are getting the object once again. So you can see in this address side, the newly we are provided this 67001, that pin code value we are getting. Okay. So using this way, we can get this form value from our multiforms. So the very important thing is you have to mention in your form outside. Okay, that's what we previously faced the error. So once we have this data directly, we can pass this data into our services, and in the services we can handle based on our requirement. Currently, I don't have any API handy manner. That's what I'm not going to call these services. But anyway, in our previous videos, I have clearly explained how to call the service and how to pass the data. So you just to follow the things and to make sure you have to familiar on this reactive forms. Then it is very easiest thing. If you don't know the concept of reactive forms, it should be a little bit difficult. So you have to learn the basics of reactive forms and these form groups and these validators. Then it will be a very easiest thing. And now we are in the end of the video. Still, if you have any doubts or clarification, please post in the comment box. And also please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you. Thanks for watching.